I'm Lisa Blake with Keller Williams and the Blake team, and this is Steve Novak, my Director of Operations and the team numbers nerd. And we wanted to talk to you a little bit about interest rates and how they affect buyers and sellers both. So take it over, Steve.
Sure, yeah. So Lisa asked me to come in here and chat with you guys a little bit. A lot of times people tend to just look at price and whether they think homes are overvalued, undervalued, and use that to determine whether it's a good or bad time to buy. And that's really just one little piece of it. So we want to talk to you about interest rates a little bit with the election coming up. And then the Fed is set to meet in December. Interest rates have been record lows for a long time. You hear a lot about it on the radio and how it's a good time to refinance, things like that, which is true, but it's also really affects the Denver real estate market, and people don't talk much about that. So with the Fed set to meet in December, everyone's expecting them to raise interest rates, and we just wanted to briefly kind of tell you how that's going to affect both buyers and sellers in this Denver real estate market.
So Steve, how is that going to affect buyers in the market?
Sure. So buyers is kind of the simple one. As interest rates go up, you're going to end up paying more interest over the life of a loan. So that's kind of common knowledge, but I don't think people really take the time to go into the numbers and really think about what that means and how that affects a purchase. So for example, I spoke with the lender the other day, and we pulled some numbers on a $350,000 loan with about 5% down on a home. And if the Fed raises interest rates in December just a quarter tick, over the life of that loan, you're going to pay about $20,000 more. So when you really stop to think about that, if someone's interested in buying a home in the next 6 months, basically if they buy right now versus 3 months from now, they're going to save $20,000, or they're going to spend more, $20,000 more. So really, if you're thinking about buying, you really do want to do that now, because otherwise you're just starting out behind the ball. Essentially, the same loan, same buyer, same credit score, same house, bought today versus potentially 3 months from now is a $20,000 difference.
So that was great information, Steve, about buyers, and it's really obvious about buyers, but how does this affect sellers as well?
Sure, yeah. So it really does affect sellers as well, and people just don't really tend to think of it that way. And the way it affects sellers is essentially it shrinks the buyer's pool, meaning there's less people that can afford your home because of the higher interest rates. So, Denver's actually a really good example for this, because everyone knows that Denver's been one of the top real estate markets in the nation for the last year and a half. But that's a pretty broad term. People don't really take the time to figure out what that means. And what we've seen over the last 18 months is very different markets and different price points. So homes basically about below $350,000, I would say, in the last 18 months are generally getting multiple offers. They're getting sold in usually above asking price, and they're getting sold in just a couple days. But once you get into those higher price points, homes are still selling, but it's taking a lot more marketing from us. And then they do tend to be on the market a little bit longer and have not as much demand for it.
What about listing now versus listing in the spring?
Sure, yeah. So that's kind of an anomaly too. That there's this falsehood out there that the best time to list is in the spring, and really that doesn't really translate in our experience, because what happens in the spring is everyone waits to list in the spring, and then everyone lists. Which means rather than you being one of maybe 5 homes that fits a potential buyer, there's probably 50 homes. So basically, the buyer pool is going to shrink with the interest rates, and then there's going to be more inventory that you're competing with. So you're really getting hit from both sides as a seller, and there's going to be less buyers and more inventory.
So is it fair to say that now is a good time to sell as well, because there's less inventory on the market and there's still buyers that need to buy houses?
Absolutely. It's really an interesting kind of tweak in the market, because with interest rates, it's expected to go up. It is currently good for buyers and sellers. And really what interest rates affect is the only one who really benefits is the banks. So right now, before that happens, it's a good time to buy and a good time to sell, which you don't hear about often.
Absolutely. So if you need any information on the real estate market or need our expertise, please call us at 844-600-SOLD.